Let's bring in Ariel Helwani, MMAfighting.com journalist, a student of the sport here. Ariel joins us now. Thank you. I know you're busy. So what do we expect tomorrow night?
I'm expecting the greatest sporting event of all time, man. We've been on this journey together from the beginning, dating back in November. I'm happy that we were able to end it at the finish line together.
All right. What do you think? How does this actually play out strategy-wise? Give me both fighters' strategy.
Well, we know what Floyd do. No secrets here. 49-0. He's primarily remained the same boxer, especially in the last few years. Very much a defensive fighter. You know, he said recently that he's going to come forward and he's going to pay the fans back for the Manny Pacquiao debacle. I don't believe that's true. I think he's going to be the same fighter. The interesting thing is Conor. Conor, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. A lot of people think that Conor is just going to go out there and try to outbox Floyd Mayweather. That would be a colossal mistake. He is going to go in there as a martial artist. He is going to try to bring a style of attack that Floyd has never seen before. And it was very interesting at the press conference 2 days ago when they faced off in front of the crowd. Floyd stood there like a traditional boxer. Conor then went down and said, "This is Bruce Lee expletive," and then did the Bruce Lee pose. And that was his signal to the world that I'm not going in there as a boxer. I'm going in there as a martial artist. I'm going to make this dirty. I'm going to bring a very unorthodox style of attack to Floyd Mayweather. Yeah,
I mentioned that in the first hour, that he's going in, obviously, as a left-hander, and Floyd has seen left-handers, but he's an unconventional left-hander. Is that what you're talking about, that his approach is going to be something different, or is it angles that he's playing that will be different than a typical boxer?
The approach will be different. I think it will be a very dirty fight. You know, they put out a clip of him sparring a couple of weeks ago, and he's throwing rapid punches. You know, he's gonna throw punches to the elbow. He's gonna throw punches to the shoulder. He's just gonna try to rough him up. And Conor's not a very, he's not a volume puncher, but he's a very precise puncher, and he's a very hard hitter. And I think that's the game plan here. I mean, just look around him. He has no boxing trainers in his corner. His three cornermen are his MMA trainers. So he's not going to try to go in there and try to, slip and dip and outbox Floyd, because I think that he would get outclassed and embarrassed if he did that. I think he's going to try to rough him up and play dirty with him.
Which sport has more on the line?
100% boxing. This is a boxing match. Could you imagine if arguably the greatest fighter of all time, arguably the greatest defensive fighter of all time, 49-0 Floyd Mayweather loses to the 0-0 martial artist? I have to say it's been really interesting to see how the boxing community has accepted, or I really should say not accepted, Conor. They have mocked him.
Yeah.
They openly mocked him throughout this process. They are laughing at him. They're putting out videos making fun of his training. Could you imagine if he goes in there and actually stops Floyd, something that none of these other greats, Pacquiao, De La Hoya, Canelo, Robert Guerrero, all these guys couldn't do, couldn't even touch Floyd, couldn't knock him down? I mean, boxing would be they would be facing a lot of questions if Conor is able to do that.
Give me the result that keeps Conor McGregor in boxing and doesn't return to MMA.
Honestly, I think he returns to MMA.
Really?
Regardless. Yes, you know why? Because I feel like the UFC obviously had to be on board with this idea. He's still under contract with them. They're making a lot of money off this fight as well. And I don't believe that they would have let him go out and do this and pursue this if they didn't get some kind of assurance that he would be coming back. And I've asked his management team about this, and they kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But based on my conversations, there is a discussion that was had a few months back that he would come back. And he has said multiple times that he plans on coming back, and his coach has said multiple times, and I believe them. I believe that he is very much willing to come back, and obviously he'd have to get paid a lot more. But the plan, at least as of right now, before the fight, is for him to come back at least one more time this year inside the octagon.
If I bet, I would be putting money on McGregor for a knockout, but I don't bet anymore. But people are looking at the different angles here. You got to put up a whole lot of money to get anything back on Mayweather. What would you do if you were betting?
Honestly, I'm not a bettor. I've actually never bet on anything in my life. Maybe once or twice with my friends, but I can't even recall the last time I made a bet of any kind of significance. I actually feel like the safe bet is Floyd, because last I checked, it was 4-1. I mean, this should be, with all, I have all the respect in the world for Conor, and as I told you, a month or so ago, I'm not going to be the one who says he doesn't have a chance. But Conor should be a 20-1 underdog in this fight. I mean, 0-0 against 49-0. It's crazy to me that it's actually this close, and I think that speaks to just how popular he is. and how loyal his fan base is. But the fact that it's so close, I kind of feel like the safer bet at this point is Floyd.
He's Ariel Helwani, MMAfighting.com journalist, one of the more respected voices certainly in this sport. When you talked to Conor McGregor recently, can you get just a normal guy who's named Conor, or was he on as Conor McGregor?
No, I have to say, with me, I feel like I've been lucky, and maybe it's because we first crossed paths before he came to the UFC. He has always been very down to earth, very humble. His comments to me are at times, illuminating and mesmerizing. I mean, he's just such an eloquent speaker, and I just love the way he sort of tackles certain subjects. I had the privilege of sitting down with him 2 weeks ago after his open media workout session, and you'd probably appreciate this because you followed a bit of my journey over the past year and a half. UFC did not want him to sit down with me. He was only scheduled to sit down with Fox, ESPN, and Showtime, the big dogs, if you will. And here I am, the little train that could, who's been along for the ride with Conor for quite some time, and they asked me to leave the Performance Institute. They call that their headquarters now. And I said, no, I'm going to wait to talk to Conor. And they went to speak to Conor and said, Ariel's here waiting for you. And he said, absolutely, I'll speak to him. And he gave me 25 minutes, longer than Jim Gray, longer than all the veterans who were there. So with me, he's always been great. And the interview was great because we talked about him being on welfare. And he has this new yacht that he just purchased, and he calls it the 188. And that's because when he was on welfare, his check was 188 euros. And, so we kind of reminisced about that. We reminisced about being a father now and what it's like doing this with a son. So it was Conor. It was, if you will.
How long did you have to wait for the interview?
For Conor, we had to wait, maybe an hour and a half or so.
Okay.
But that pales in comparison to what I had to do to get Floyd a couple days ago. Did you hear about this story?
Is this the 6 hours you waited?
Yes, I waited 6 hours. On Monday, Floyd Mayweather said that he was going to be hanging out at his gentleman's club leading up to the fight every night. And quite frankly, I didn't believe him. I know he likes to, stay up late and things like that, but I thought that maybe he'd stay away at least for this week. So I talked to my crew on Wednesday, and I said, let's just go there and see if he's actually telling the truth. So we went at 10:30 p.m., spoke to the bouncers and all that. They kind of are a little bit hesitant when they see people walk in with cameras. They put us in a room, top of the club, closed the door behind us. It was a vault door that was maybe like 8 feet wide. I thought that they were going to lock us in there until after the fight. 1 hour passes, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. He finally shows up at 3:30 a.m. Pacific time, comes in there with a stack of money, and I'm like, oh my God, he's finally here. So, and I'm half asleep at this point. I was wearing those solar eclipse glasses, so I didn't look at anything. So I was staring at the wall. And I go up to his bodyguard, and I'm like, hey, can we talk to him? Finally, he's here. He's like, he doesn't want to do it. He's not feeling it. So I said, I can't. I mean, I've come this far, 5 hours. I've been sitting in this darn place. So we go up to him. I say, please, I've been here 6 hours. I waited an hour to speak to him. And he said, all right, fine, let's do it. We went upstairs at 4 a.m. Pacific time, went up and got the interview with him. It was pretty darn cool, I must say.
You may put up a better fight than Conor McGregor will against Floyd there.
No. I don't know. Maybe I'm too entrenched at this point, but I don't think it will be a stinker. Just because Conor's never been in a stinker, and I know this is uncharted territory, but he's just not that kind of fighter. He's not the kind of fighter who will just stand there and not throw punches like Manny Pacquiao did. So he's either going to, go out on his shield, or he's going to pull off maybe the greatest upset of our lifetime. But I just would be absolutely shocked if this is a stinker. Maybe I'm being foolish. Maybe, I'm being naive, but that's just my feeling at this point.
Ariel, great to talk to you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you, my friend. All the best, and my pleasure.
Ariel Helwani, MMAfighting.com.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.